There are 3 questions you should think twice about answering. Not because the world is full of enemies, but because not everyone deserves full access to your life. And if you keep answering everything just because someone asked, you're not being open, you're being unguarded. That might sound subtle, but it changes everything. Because every time you share something personal, you're not just giving information, you're giving people a lens to interpret you. And once that lens is there, it's very hard to take it back. Let's get one thing straight first. Boundaries are not about being rude. They're not about pushing people away. They're about control. Control over your narrative. Control over your energy. Control over who gets to see what version of you. Because like it or not, people don't just listen to what you say. They build a story around it. And if you hand them too much too early, they will fill in the rest however they want. Question 1. How much money do you make? This question seems simple. It's not. It's one of the fastest ways to shift how people see you. The moment a number enters the conversation, your life becomes measurable, comparable, reducible. If you earn more than them, you might suddenly feel distance. Not obvious at first, but subtle. Comments change, jokes change, expectations creep in. If you earn less, the shift goes the other way. Advice you didn't ask for, assumptions about your choices, a quiet sense that you're being evaluated. And here's the problem. Once that dynamic starts, it rarely goes back to neutral. Because money is never just money. It's status. It's perceived competence. It's identity in disguise. So instead of feeding that system, you step outside of it. I'm doing okay. Enough to be comfortable. I've got things handled. Short, calm, closed, no numbers, no breakdown. You're not hiding. You're filtering. Question 2. What are your big goals? This one is trickier because it sounds positive, encouraging even. But here's what most people don't realize. Not every environment is safe for unfinished ideas. When something is new, it's unstable. It hasn't been tested yet. It hasn't survived friction. And when you expose it too early, you expose it to opinions it's not ready to handle. Some people will doubt it. Some will question it. Some will project their own limitations onto it. And even if they mean well, it still affects you. Because your brain doesn't fully separate external doubt from internal belief. There's another layer too. When you talk about a goal in detail, your brain gets a sense of completion. You feel like you've moved forward without actually doing anything yet. That small reward can quietly reduce your drive. So instead of explaining everything, you protect the early stages. I've got a few things in motion, working towards something right now, still building it out. Because not everything needs an audience while it's still being built. Question 3. What's your biggest mistake? This is where people confuse honesty with overexposure. Yes, vulnerability builds connection, but only in the right context, with the right people at the right time. Your past is not a public document. It's a private archive. And once you share something deeply personal, you don't control how it's remembered. Some people will respect it. Some people will misunderstand it. And some will store it away for a moment you didn't expect. That doesn't mean you live guarded forever. It means you earn your way into openness. Not everyone starts at level 10. A grounded response, I've made mistakes, learned from them. Nothing I'd go back to, but it shaped me. It's honest, but it keeps ownership in your hands. Because growth doesn't require full disclosure to strangers. Now here's the deeper point most people miss. It's not about the questions. It's about your relationship with silence. Most people answer quickly because silence feels uncomfortable. They rush to fill the gap. They explain, they justify, they overshare, not because they want to, but because they feel like they have to. And that's where control is lost. Because the moment you feel obligated to answer, you've handed over authority. So what do you do instead? You slow it down. You let the question sit. You decide, not react. Sometimes you answer. Sometimes you redirect. Sometimes you don't engage at all. And that last option, that's the one most people forget exists. Here's a simple rule you can use immediately. If a question creates pressure, pause. Pressure is a signal. It means something about that question is crossing a line you haven't defined yet. So instead of pushing past it, you respect it. I don't really get into that. I'd rather keep that private. Not something I talk about much. No apology, no long explanation. Just a boundary. And yes, some people won't like it. They might call you distant, closed off, hard to read. That's fine. Because the people who respect your boundaries are the ones who earn more access over time. And the ones who don't, they were never meant to have it in the first place. Final thought. You don't need to be mysterious to have power. You just need to be intentional. Not everything about you needs to be known. Not everything needs to be explained. Not everything needs to be shared in the moment it's asked. Because the more selective you are with your information, the more control you keep over your life. And control, quiet, steady control, is what real confidence actually looks like.